Hello, hello. How you doing there, Internet? How's everything going? Anyway, I decided to make a response video on Snarky Jay about Tinder. Now, everything that she says is correct. That the dating app are not helping people find this so-called true love. Mi amor. And I'm a little surprised that Mr. and Mrs. Bonita, Snarky Jay, I thought she probably would like Tinder a little bit, and she probably would find somebody, her being a very attractive woman. But I guess everybody's struggling trying to find that special one because back in the olden days, marriage was a beautiful, gorgeous thing. But today, it's not. But to respond to her Tinder video, yes, everything she says is, I would say she's pretty much 95% correct. They're not here to help you find love. It's kind of like, to use an example, medicine with all the side effects. They want to have the side effects. It wouldn't shock me if they could take away the side effects, but they want you to keep coming back for more. If you're sickly, oh, these side effects, well, let me help you fix the side effects with this medication. So it's not really solving the problem. It's the same thing with YouTube. I was debating this guy, and I'll tie it back to Tinder. Trust me, there's a method to my madness here. Anyway, this guy I knew named Mitchell, an old Jewish guy, he said, everything on YouTube is BS. It's a bunch of nobodies going on the internet speaking nonsense. And I agree and disagree. This channel, I do know certain things, but I'm not expert on many things. So some of the stuff I will say is my opinion, but I also do research. But some stuff will be nonsense and some will not be. But my disagreement with him when I argued him about YouTube, as I said, well, look at, there's a lot of channels that have psychiatrists and they have degrees. Well, if they're on YouTube, then their degrees don't mean much because they're not successful. It's inviolate because why would you go on YouTube if you're a degree? And I said, well, you have to understand, you have to promote yourself. You go on Twitter, you go on X, and you promote yourself. But just because you're on YouTube and you are a doctor, because I also like to look at psychology. I want to be a writer, and I like to do some acting, but writing's my heart. Basically, I like to study psychology, and you have a lot of people who are doctors who have degrees. You can look it up. You have people who have degrees. They go on YouTube to expand their business. But this guy thinks everybody that goes on YouTube is not qualified. They're just giving their opinions. So I said, no, some of these people have doctrines, degrees on certain fields. I'll give you another example. He said that Chris Como and Don Lemon are irrelative. They don't matter no more. They're insignificant. And I said, well, why? You're gonna tell me they used to work for CNN and Chris Como works at News Nations? He said, well, no, if you're not on CNN no more, you're a nobody. So all that training, being a journalist, means nothing because a corporation, big corporation, is no longer under your umbrella, or you're no longer working for that corporation. You now don't qualify for nothing because you're on YouTube and it's beneath you. He just believes YouTube's a bunch of nonsense. Here's my point, tying it back to the Tinder. I believe that Don Lemon and Chris Como still are experts because they went to journalist school. CNN is not going to hire some bum off the street, okay? And just because they go on YouTube doesn't mean all of a sudden all their certificates mean nothing because you go on YouTube. It's the same thing when it comes to these people who are doctors, who have certificates and degrees of being a doctor. They happen to go on YouTube to promote themselves. Doesn't mean that their doctrines disappear, poof, because they're on YouTube. And don't get me wrong, most of YouTube is nonsense, but some of it is teaching. Now let me tie back into the Tinder here. I believe that there are some there are some dating coaches that are fantastic on YouTube that have degrees, have a testimonial clientele on YouTube. The girl I would recommend for all those people who have trouble dating women, Cassie Nobles. She has thousands of videos, men claiming that they saved her life, they saved their love life. And the reason why I bring this up, tie it back to Tinder, I don't think Tinder is the answer. This is where I agree with Snarky Jay. However, bettering yourself is the answer. Now, I'm going to answer her question because I don't think she answers the question. I'm not saying she doesn't know. But the 7% that are successful on Tinder, do you know who they are? Do you know who they are? The 7%? There are three categories of pickup artists. And I'm not talking about the fake ones that rob people's money. I'm talking about the ones who actually help people make money. There's three categories. 1, day game. 2, night game. 3, internet game. So there is, if you're an expert in this, and here's the problem, get off the dating apps. If you want a booty call, then you go to this guy. There's some pickup artists who only strictly go on Tinder, Bumblebee, whatever you want to call that thing. I don't know if they go to eHarmony, because I think they're looking to smash. They do very good on those things. Why? Because day game is friendly. Hi, how are you? Friendly. You escalate women. You have great conversations, and you escalate them, and you trigger attraction points, and you read body language. But it's more friendly atmosphere, the day game. The night is you're partying, having fun. You're that great guy. If a girl says, "Hey, leave," go F yourself, you don't get upset. You go, you know what? I like you because you're different. You're not these easy trollops over here. I like you. You can be more of a party atmosphere. But the one that Snarky Jay, I don't know if she mentions this, these are pickup artists who love the digital world. You can't read their emotions. They have no problem telling a story. They have no problem writing a phenomenal profile, triggering attractions. But let's be honest, only 7% of the men, you can be taught this skill set, but a lot of people don't. And a lot of people are afraid to go outside. And let's face it, for people to be successful, you have to welcome in rejection and take chances. It's easy to go behind a computer screen and to swipe, even though your love life is not improving, because I do agree with Snarky Jay, it's not meant to improve. They want to continue having rotated business with you. They don't want you to find true love. And I'm not attacking anybody. Like I said, back in the olden days, marriage was beautiful and gorgeous. But people today don't want marriage. The successful men have options because the 1%, the women live in this make-believe world that the 1% is the 99% and 99% is the 1%. The 1% are going to be dating and going through women left and right because they can, and they are successful, they have game, they have the status. Now let me be honest here. What people don't understand is they talk about the Chads, the Don Juans, the Tyrones, the Checky Chains. But here's the thing, and the Muhammad's, you got probably some rich Muhammad in Dubai. But what people don't understand is, yes, status does matter, but you have to have conversation skills. You have to read body language. You have to be somewhat successful, but the man who's going to win is successful. I would say you have to be, I'm going to say you have to be filthy rich, but you have to be middle class, upper middle class. But you also have to know game, body language, sexual triggers. So wasting your time on these dating apps ain't going to get you nowhere. Going out in the real world. Now, I'm not against dating apps if you are one of these 7% of men who thrive on it. Like I said, they can write a phenomenal profile. They know what to say. They know who to target. I think this one guy mentioned that he doesn't go after women he can't attain. He goes after the women who are in the middle. And you get the famous people, public figures, and you get the middle. They go after the middle. But if you're willing to train, I'm not against Tinder if you want to get trained by these pickup artists. I remember this one girl, YouTube channel, she said she got catfished. This guy gave her a fake profile. Probably he was a good-looking guy. Maybe the guy was nerdy, but he won in a way. If he had confidence in himself, who knows? Maybe he dressed better and date the girl. But he had this girl hooked. This YouTuber said, "I've been catfished." She was like a beautiful blonde, and if you hit the women in the feelings, they're gonna like you. I think everything hits a bubble, and that's a good question. Will Tinder hit its bubble? Will it? I don't know. Because let's face it, you have new people being born, but sooner or later, if you're not getting your problem fixed, doing the same thing and not getting any better results is insanity. You want to change your course of action and get good results. And I get a big kick of watching, because I like to look at both sides of the aisle. I was watching these dating coaches, and let me be honest, I think the pickup artists are for men, and dating coaches are for men, and women just get dating coaches. But I was laughing because I watched these two dating coaches, and the man says, "Don't validate her. Don't tell her she's beautiful. Don't you dare simp." And you got the woman say, "Don't you?" She was a dating coach for women. "Don't you dare tell him he's handsome. Don't you dare tell him he's good looking. Don't you dare let him know that." And I'm laughing because I agree. There's nothing wrong with saying to a woman she's beautiful, but doing it 50 million times is overkill. But if people are not letting people know that they like them or they're attractive or they're not willing to do romantic gestures, I'm not saying overkill. I'm talking balance. No wonder the dating game in America sucks. But to get back with her video, Snarky Jay, she's not wrong, but my answer, since people just like to talk about problems, let's talk about the solutions. I say Kissly Nobles on YouTube. Get game if you don't know how to get game. Number 2, you better your finances, which is easier said than done, but you're gonna have to learn how to make money. But I think Kissly Nobles is the real deal. I think dating apps are only good for those 7%. There's dating coaches who expert in going on Tinder and on Hinge and on Bubble because they write phenomenal profiles. I'm not against it, but you have to know the skill set to do it. But people want to cry, "Oh, this sucks, that sucks, this is terrible," but nobody wants to give solutions. And don't get me wrong, not all shoe fits the same size. What's good for me may not be good for you. However, going outside and approaching girls is better than catfish or women who are going to swipe not in your favor because you're not one of those unrealistic chads that they think they can get. Don't get me wrong, some of these women, like Snarky Jay, I don't even blame her for that guy, that Darth Vader actor, Christian, I forgot his last name. He probably didn't read the signs right himself. He probably could have had her if he read the signs and be a little more aggressive. Because there's a lot of YouTubers who went to Comic-Con and they hooked up with A-listers, celebrities. Now, I'm not going to blame people, but if you're expert, man or woman, you know when somebody wants you. And if you want them, you're going to have them. Now, not everybody is as hot as Snarky Jay. However, people need to learn body language, pick up a skill, pick up a dating coach. There's a lot of scammer dating coaches. So I'm giving you Kissly Nobles as one who has thousands of videos of men saying she saved their lives. So I'm giving you solutions. I know YouTube likes just to whine and complain. I mean, there is no solution. You know, they talk about men falling behind, but they have no solution. Well, okay, I'll give you some solutions. I know not all shoe fits all sizes, but if you go to men's groups, hang with men, pick up dating a game from Kissly Nobles and her team, and go outside and have men groups and women groups. Women love to dance. Go to a dance salsa group. And Starbucks, they always have hot women go inside there. But let me tie this up in a bow. My whole point is this: Miss J is not wrong that the so-called dating apps are only good for the 7%. But she didn't explain the people who are good for us. The ones who have phenomenal storytelling ability and write great profiles. People need to meet each other in real life. Now, here's the problem I do not have the solution for. Marriage used to be a beautiful, gorgeous thing. People wanted marriage. Don't get me wrong, cheating happens all the time. Men and women cheat on each other. Men and women are violent towards each other. I think they should have homes for abused men who get beat up, like they have for women. And I'll admit this: you have jails full of toxic women, you have jails in America full of toxic men. I think men and women, I could never be an advocate for men and women. I think people in general are flawed, imperfect creatures. However, there are double standards, but it goes both ways. For a man, the double standard will be, well, you have no confidence, you're a piece of crap, you're a piece of shit, you should have confidence. Or if you're a virgin guy, oh, you're a piece of garbage, you're a piece of crap, you're a loser. But if a woman's a virgin, oh, she's beautiful, she's fantastic, she's great. And if a man has no confidence, he's a piece of garbage. But the same thing goes for women. If a woman is a player, she's a whore, she's a tramp, she's a slut slave. I can't speak here. Slut shaming her to being a slut. If a man scores a lot of women, he's a player, he's a baller, he's a king. And if a man gains 5 pounds, nobody noticed, but a woman gains 5 pounds, she's a fat slob and obese. Double standards are for both genders. Both genders have been cheating on each other, beating up each other, violent to each other. There is a difference. For some reason, I don't know why this is the case. Men are more vicious when it comes to rape. For some reason, I don't know why women, when they rape somebody, it's always like a hot older teacher with a teenager guy. I don't know why that is a thing, but there's a YouTube channel that talks about all these women who hook up with their teenage guys. It's very weird. But then again, we live in a world where the owners of these countries are all probably on the Epstein list, all of Washington. So, but marriage used to be a beautiful thing. People used to believe in old-fashioned values. People cheated back then too, but they were more willing to love each other and willing to care about people. Those days are gone, and I don't think it's ever going to come back. I will say this: if you're really looking for true love, and if you're a Christian, I think you're in the driver's seat because you have morals. If a person has morals, that's the person you want to go for. The hot chick or the hot dude with no morals. Don't get me wrong, I understand that vanilla guys can be boring. But once you get a guy who's not vanilla, who has morals, I wish that people could experience love. But the truth of the matter is, today, you're lucky if you're making good money and you can find that love of your life. Sometimes you just have to be happy what you get.